1,000 people have signed a petition urging Biden to run. Daft Biden advisors Josh Alcorn and Brad Bauman, who were in New Hampshire on Wednesday, say the PAC is focused on building the political infrastructure in the event of a Biden candidacy. GrokTober will soon be upon us, and to celebrate, GrokTALK is taking to the road. On GrokTober 3rd, we will be broadcasting live from the Federalism Forum at Southern New Hampshire University in Manchester. GrokTober 10th finds us live from the Republican Liberty Caucus Convention at the Crown Plaza in Nashua, and October 17th we'll be trying our hardest to bring you a show from the 603 Alliance Grassroots Selection Caucus in Hopkinton, New Hampshire. The October 17th event is a gathering of the grassroots activists, Republican and Republican voting undeclared voters, to rally behind a single free market, pro-Constitution candidate in the run-up to New Hampshire's February 1st in the nation primary. This historical event gives Granite Staters an opportunity to be counted and to avoid having their vote diluted in such a large field of candidates on primary day. Details about the caucus and a pre-sign-up form are available at 603alliance.org. I gotta make sure I keep talking because I gotta start some more music, and we're gonna be back in about a little over a minute to start the show, so stay tuned. This is GrokTALK.
GrokTALK comes to you live almost every Saturday morning from 9 to 11 a.m. Eastern Time on New Hampshire's leading conservative blog site, GraniteGrok.com. You can also listen live at Spreaker.com. If you missed a live show, catch up with the podcast at GraniteGrok.com, Spreaker.com, on Stitcher Radio, at iTunes, TuneIn, or iHeartRadio, and now on The Rock, New Hampshire's Christian radio station, The Rock, NHCR.com. GrokTALK is a mobile-ready broadcast, so you can listen anywhere, anytime, on your PC, laptop, tablet, or smartphone.
GrokTALK.
Another edition of GrokTALK, brought to you by New Hampshire's leading conservative blog site, GraniteGrok.com. We are your feared, extremist, right-wing, hard-charging, gun-toting, opinionated, outspoken, rabble-rousing, letter-writing, radio microphone stomping conservatives and rational libertarians. So get ready for more news and opinion you could only get from GraniteGrok.com.
GrokTALK.
Things are going frighteningly well, considering the hurdles we had to jump to get here this morning. Welcome to the program. My name is Steve McDonald. I am here with Mr. Skip Murphy, Mr. Mike Rogers, and Mr. Richard H. Olson Jr. has joined us today on the program. Susan Olson, who is on the line right now, will be calling us live from the... Hi, Susan! From the Concord Gun Show, and she has a booth there. We're going to talk about that. And we also have Ralph Benko, who is going to talk to us about the Fed, gold standard, some economic stuff. Of course, we'll probably have Mike and Kimberly supposed to call in and help us with that conversation. Corey Lewandowski, the chief honcho over there at Trump 2016, is going to call in. We're going to have a talk with him. And, yeah, we're there. Sorry, I had to have you on a different button. And Max Ledoux is going to come and talk to us about Maggie Hassan and Planned Parenthood. Hey, Susan. Susan, are you there? She probably hung up because she thought I unhung her up. Just talk on that. Just pick her up. Her up.
All right.
Just do it. Just click it. There she is. You were there, Susan. We were just... You're there. Yes. People could hear you going, hello.
Well, hello, gentlemen. Good morning.
I have to see. I know you see me saying this, but I got 4 mics open, and when I do that, it gets really kind of scratchy. So.
All right.
Yes, good morning. Welcome to GrokTALK from the Gun Show.
Yes, and I am at the Gun Show here at the Everett Arena in beautiful downtown Concord. It is absolutely glorious outside, and the lines are wrapped around the parking lot. Inside is packed with vendors, and of course I'm there with the Women's Defense League this morning. But it's always interesting to come to these gun shows and to talk to people. Joining me this morning is Representative J.R. Hole, who, like me, is outside handing out literature to try to overcome Haggy Masson's veto of Senate Bill 116. And you'd be shocked to know how many people are unaware of the fact that, number one, the legislation passed, and number two, that we have a chance to override her veto.
Nice to see that
actually-
you're doing that political activism.
I actually wouldn't be all that surprised to hear that they don't know.
No.
So,
Well, it's a little disturbing, but nevertheless, we're out here trying to educate, and I'm walking up to people and saying, "Are you suitable?" And they look at me like I have a couple of heads.
suitable for what?
Yes, suitable for what? Well, some of them it's unclear, that's for sure. But it's a great day, and this is always a good event. Sorry you guys aren't here.
Yeah, I know. I think it would have been a good idea to do the show from there, and I think next time around we're gonna, next time we have a gun show coming up on a Saturday morning, we should make a point of trying to get there and to do the show from there, and we should make a habit of that generally when they're in Concord. But in order to mentally prepare for that, I need to know in advance, so I don't already have guests booked, and so I guess it's just a communication thing,
Yeah, we'll have to follow the schedule.
It was a great idea when you mentioned it on Wednesday, but my head was someplace else.
Well, I just don't know what you do with all your spare time. But I'm expecting all manner of smarmy politicians to show up today and try and tap their Second Amendment creds with the crowd.
Oh, sure.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
It'll be fun. It'll be fun. But we have a video camera here, so not to worry. We're going to be doing some man and woman on the street interviews.
Oh,
and
excellent.
We'll share them and put them up on GrokTALk.
That will be good. That
Yeah,
will be good.
yeah. So, Mr. Olson, loved your rant
Oh, thank you.
with that pathetic little snowflake. When his son grows up and realizes his father wrote something like that, it's going to be like when you find out your mother had pictures of you naked on a towel. Right? You're going to go, "Mom, please don't, no." And then to find out your father is such a wanker.
No, I think that kid's going to be one of those kids that grows up and, he'll be sitting across from somebody with a glass of scotch and he'll go, "Oh, no, don't drink that. Youth's going to get sick."
Oh, well, let's hope not. Let's hope the kid figures it out. But you'd be surprised how many kids are in line here. It's really nice to see little bitty guys with good haircuts and little nice pressed T-shirts.
With their pants pulled up?
Do what?
With their pants pulled up?
All their pants are pulled up, indeed.
Yep.
They would have to answer to me if they didn't. Not to mention their parents.
I got a question for you.
Oh, and here's a beautiful little blonde on his grandpa's shoulders. Oh, how cute is that?
You have to get pictures for us. Hey, I
shall.
I have a question for you. Are there any of Mayor Bloomberg's Every Town or Moms Demand Action folks there?
No, I haven't seen anybody in a dress.
Well,
Man or woman.
all 12 of them might show up, So.
All 12 of them might. Well, when they do, I've got a cease and desist letter for them because they're operating illegally in the state of New Hampshire.
Right.
Yeah, but other than that, it looks like it's going to be a fun day. We've got, in fact, the Women's Defense League is raffling off the most magnificent Italian hand-engraved shotgun, 12-gauge, you've ever seen.
This is the Fosta, correct?
The Fausti, yes.
Fausti Field Hunter, yes.
It is
Yes.
beautiful.
In fact,
You
this
should
is ultimate.
you should go just to look at it.
I have that shotgun.
Do you?
I own
Yeah.
one. Yep.
Yeah.
And all of the proceeds from this are going to be going to helping train additional women in the fine sport of firearms, and also to help fund some of our activism.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah. So we have two great sponsors for that: Northwood, Georgia's Gun Shop in Northwood, and former Senator Robert Clegg are our generous sponsors for that. So thank those guys.
Fantastic.
Okay.
Thank you both.
Consider it done.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, and other than that, I'm just looking to, they generally don't have much for girls here. I mean, except the guns, of course.
That's not enough?
So, well, my colleagues who are joining me here from the Women's Defense League took a night and made some really great jewelry, so they're selling that.
Okay.
Made out of shotgun shell casings and, 308s and all kinds of fun things.
Nifty.
Even have some Christmas jewelry.
So, question for you. Since
Yes, sir.
over the last couple of years it has been a topic of great discourse, lots of ammo there at reasonable prices?
Absolutely
Ammo's
not.
Ammo's always overpriced at a gun show. However, there is the occasional terrific buy on brass. If one reloads, from time to time you can get some really great bargains on brass here. But for instructors like me that teach pistols, no, there's no 22 here.
Oh, dang.
And even if there were, it would be overpriced. So, but it's fun to look.
Yeah, because I'm looking for 22 subsonic.
Really?
See me after the show.
Okay.
I was going to say, yeah, we'll talk about that.
You're sitting across the table from the guy you want to talk
I know a guy.
I know a guy. That's right.
I know a guy.
guy.
Hey, I know a guy.
Well, I have this handy-dandy suppressor that I could use in my backyard, but it says to use subsonic, and I can't find subsonic.
Huh. Well, we'll help you with that. But I do want to mention something pretty serious here. On September the 16th, the New Hampshire legislature is going to reconvene to address a number of the bills that Hagee Masson vetoed for whatever reason. One of them, and the one nearest and dearest to my heart, is Senate Bill 116, which would have made optional the requirement to have a license to carry a concealed firearm loaded discreetly. And despite both the House and Senate passing the bill, she said, nah, I don't think you need to do it. It's all public safety. The chiefs of police, think it's a really bad idea because 13-year-olds and
Hi, this
criminals
is
will
Rich
get
Gerard.
guns.
Sorry.
Hey, Rich, how you doing? But it's a tremendously important piece of legislation. It would tear down what we call the Great Wall of Maggie between Vermont and Maine, because both of those states
That's a great wall of
have.
Maggie. That's a big pile of Hassan you got right there.
It's a big pile of hash and just another brick in her wall. But she's maintaining the Great Wall between the two states, both of which have constitutional carry. So we think it's time for that wall to come down, and we'd like people to get on the phone, get hold of their senators, their reps, and say, let's override the governor's veto. We can't do it by ourselves. It's going to be a demonstration the morning of the 16th, in fact, between the Legislative Office Building and the state capitol, to perhaps try and impress upon our legislative friends the need to do so.
Hey, Susan, we're going to take a quick break. Can you stay on the line?
I really can't. I got tons of stuff to sell, but can I do one more thing?
Yep, go ahead.
Website, www.areyousuitable.com will tell you and help you find and address your local elected official and urge them to override the governor's veto.
All right, thanks for calling in.
Have a great show, and thanks, guys.
All right, we'll see you. Okay, thank you,
Okay.
Susan. We will be right back. Everybody stay tuned.
Hi, this is Rich Gerard, host of Gerard at Large in the Morning, the Manchester area's only locally owned, locally operated, focused, and interested, riveting radio show, heard live every Monday through Friday from 6 to 9 on 90.7 FM WLMW, New Hampshire Family Radio, and available 24/7 live or archived at GerardAtLarge.com. Be sure to tune in.
GrokTALK comes to you live almost every Saturday morning from 9 to 11 a.m. Eastern Time on New Hampshire's leading conservative blog site, GraniteGrok.com. You can also listen live at Spreaker.com. If you missed a live show, catch up with the podcast at GraniteGrok.com, Spreaker.com, on Stitcher Radio, at iTunes, TuneIn, or iHeartRadio, and now on The Rock, New Hampshire's Christian radio station, TheRockNHCR.com. GrokTALK is a mobile-ready broadcast, so you can listen anywhere, anytime on your PC, laptop, tablet, or smartphone.
Rock Talk. Rock Talk.
Alrighty, welcome back. Thanks to Susan Olson for calling us live from the Concord Gun Show. Coming up, Ralph Benko at 9:30, Corey Lewandowski at 10, Max Ledoux at 10:30. We expect to have Kimberly Morin on the phone when we talk to Ralph. She's the person who helped us get. And special shout out to all the Groksters and everybody who helped come together and get us guests this week. You know, I don't always have that kind of time, and everybody helped out, so I appreciate that. And check us out on Facebook and Twitter. We are on Spreaker, Stitcher, iTunes, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, Ustream, and YouTube. And this is GrokTALK.
It is. All day or all morning long.
All right, so what do you want to do for the next 10 minutes or so? We have a couple things we can cover.
I think Rick was just bring something up during the break.
Actually, that's an excellent point. Let's talk about that.
Senate Bill 116. Just to recap for everybody, because the press lies about this bill. They lie. L-I-E-S. Lie, lie, lie. I don't care if you're the Concord Monitor, the Union Leader, the Nashua Teletrash. I don't care who you are.
Right?
You lie. Okay. There we go. Yep, that's what we need. Now, chair dancing now commences.
La, la, la.
Come on, Mike, join in.
I probably shouldn't tell my joke, should I?
No. Okay, so anyway, SB 116, media lies.
Media lies. Okay, they all headlined it as doing away with or getting rid of the pistol revolver license New Hampshire issues. Not the case. To do so would take away the reciprocity we have with 19 other states. I know there's 22, but it isn't real reciprocity because they have so many more restrictions in those states. But anyways, I digress. That's not the case. It makes it optional. In other words, if this law passes, I'm still going to go get my pistol revolver license, so I have my reciprocity in Pennsylvania. Ergo, it's not being done away with. So that's the first thing we've got to overcome with legislation, the lies that the press tells about it, because they're not being accurate. The second thing is, we saw this with John Lynch, we saw this with Gene Shaheen, and now we're seeing it with Maggie Hassan. New Hampshire Association of Chiefs of Police has a very strong voice with the governor's office. That's traditionally been the case. Okay, but understand how many police chiefs are there in New Hampshire? There are 300. And the New Hampshire police chiefs, when you see a piece of legislation come out, you hear from about 10, maybe 12 of those guys. You know, a small percentage. And they really depend on the silence of the other police chiefs. It's not, whatever their position is, it's not universally accepted across the board. We see evidence of this when, you know, all the anti-gun people had 10 kittens a year and a half ago or 2 years ago when they hosted a gun raffle. I don't know if it, I think it was like they were raffling off an AR-15 rifle or something, the police chiefs, to raise money. And everybody went nuts over it, you know. And God bless them, I'm glad they did that. But it just indicates that their positions are not universal within that organization. So two things have to happen. First, we have to look at the legislative history. The first history is that every piece of legislation they have opposed, without exception, has been done somewhere else. It's passed, and blood didn't run in the streets. Okay? We've actually enhanced ability for people to have pistol revolver licenses and safety and well-being. And because they've opposed it here doesn't mean it's opposed universally. The second thing is credibility. Okay, just because you wear a badge and you're a police chief doesn't make you the foremost expert. Okay, there are people that are knowledgeable. Let's take example Sean Haggerty, New Hampshire State Police. Pretty knowledgeable guy. And he can be a little dangerous in the legislative side of things because he takes that knowledge and he's very artful in crafting an argument against a piece of legislation. But outside of those aspects, I think going forward in the future when we do legislation like Senate Bill 116, I think we have to focus on countering whatever arguments they're putting forth, making them less credible. And it's only fair that we make them less credible because oftentimes their assertions are not truthful. You know, they're not grounded in fact. They're grounded in these assertions that, you know, perhaps Million Moms Demand came up with, or Michael Bloomberg, or somebody else. And finally, we got to look at what the vested interest is. And the vested interest is they want to be in charge of guns. They want to control guns. I understand it on one level, but I don't understand it on a citizen level. Because understand something, folks. If 116 passes or doesn't pass, there's one constant here. It makes no difference. If you're a prohibited person under state or federal law, you can't ever carry a gun. You just simply can't. That's the bottom line right there. And that's my rant. What's your thought, Skip?
Well, I actually think that it it would be good to finally go back to the idea that constitutional verbiage trumps everything else.
Absolutely.
And I think we've gotten too far away from it with all of the regulatory, especially the regulatory, but a lot of legislators here in the state of New Hampshire, down in D.C., and pretty much everywhere, they're all saying, we don't care about the Constitution. It's not up to us to determine whether or not something is constitutional or not. And I hold, like everybody at this table, we are all responsible for determining what is constitutional and what isn't, because that is our foundational law. And the further we get away from the plain language, and I will tell you that in the year plus that Ian Underwood spoke to the House on these kinds of bills and talked about whether words matter in the Constitution, it made my head hurt, because I put that up and I still think of it all the time now. It really is a case of either the words mean things or they don't, and it makes us have to address hard truths, because we think, okay, yeah, somebody who's done a violent crime and is a felon shouldn't have access to a weapon. But when you read the phrase "shall not be infringed," you kind of go, this puts you on point, and you really have to sit and go, which one do I want to go with? Am I on the freedom scale, or am I on the security and safety scale? And I think too often folks have said, I want the safety and security, which never results in freedom, regardless of what they want. And I'm not even talking about Benjamin Franklin's famous phrase here. So I look at that, and it's really a case of, I always blame it on the educational system. They don't teach constitutional philosophy in our school systems anymore, so nobody cares about it because they don't know about it.
No, they don't.
And that, I think, is probably one of the biggest things. And even when you look at results, Vermont, New Hampshire, two of the safest states in the union for gun usage, for murders by guns, suicide or accidental or intentional. Thank you. It just they say these. Yes, they say these things.
You'll find those on gun ranges.
Yeah,
Yes.
and it's stultifying to see the reactions of people who really aren't able to talk past the talking points. We all deal with the real data here at Granite Rock.
Absolutely.
I demand it. I demand that everybody source link in their post back to the data on which they are posing things. A lot of other people write, but more on the left, they hear a talking point and that's it. They never go and research it. And that's it. It's very, what's the word I'm looking for? It does get you angry. Let's look at the data. Same thing with the cell phones in the cars. There's no data available that says cell phones themselves are the crisis point that they are made out to be.
The conversation is, but at this point, the data suggests that the bands don't do anything. So
yeah, the car
don't.
is full of distractions. The passengers are distractions.
Well, it's not just that. The world is full of distractions.
There's stuff at the side of the road.
You watch young guys driving around Hampton Beach. You know.
Yeah. If you
boom. Oh.
If you let your mind wander for whatever reason, you're not fully focused on the road, and it doesn't have to be the person at the other end of the telephone. If you're not in a phone call, you could still be thinking about stuff.
Yeah, how many of us have we're thinking about a subject, and then you realize, how far down the road have I just gone? I mean, it happens to all of us.
How about when you're on 93 heading south in the morning, and you see a guy driving along reading a frickin' newspaper? You know, should be a ticket for that, right?
I mean, but it seems to be part of the progressive mantra, the progressive mode that we're in, that every single wrong must have a law
Has a legal
stating
remedy.
it,
Yeah.
instead of saying distracted driving. All right, you get the same jail time if you get in an accident and kill somebody by reaching down and hitting the buttons on the radio or adjusting your car heat or air conditioning.
And we had that. We have a perfectly good distracted driving bill.
Just like those things, or making a phone call, it's all the same. You do it when you're on the straight and level and you've got enough room around yourself and you can afford to glance down for a moment. And when you can't afford to glance down, you don't.
Well, just this morning on WMUR, they were reporting on a state trooper that pinched a guy for doing 113 miles an hour right around the Bedford tolls. Mm-hmm. And you know what he gave for an excuse? Oh, he wasn't watching his speed. He was distracted because he was texting.
Oh, that's
At
good.
113 miles an hour, I'm thinking there's a Darwin Award in the making. You know,
I'm sorry, I didn't see those
wow.
people on the sidewalk because I was driving away from an armed robbery.
Yeah. Or let's go back to what was it, Martha Fuller Clark driving
yeah.
on the sidewalk.
Hit the pedestrian. Yeah.
Hit the two elderly pedestrians.
What was she distracted by? You know, the other thing
She's
is
doing the people's business. We're almost out of time for this segment. We're going to be back with Ralph Benko. I have to interrupt. I apologize.
Sure, no problem.
Ralph will be back. I assume Kimberly's calling us. Kimberly, are you calling us on line 1? Because we're calling Ralph on line 2. Everybody hang in there. We'll be right back in a few minutes with more guests, more news, and more Grok Talk.
Hi, this is Rich Gerard, host of Gerard at Large in the Morning. The Manchester area's only locally owned, locally operated, focused, and interested riveting radio show, heard live every Monday through Friday from 6 to 9 on 90.7 FM WLMW New Hampshire Family Radio, and available 24/7 live or archived at GerardAtLarge.com. Be sure to tune in.
GrokTALK comes to you live almost every Saturday morning from 9 to 11 a.m. Eastern Time on New Hampshire's leading conservative blog site, GraniteGrok.com. You can also listen live at Spreaker.com. If you missed a live show, catch up with the podcast at GraniteGrok.com, Spreaker.com, on Stitcher Radio, at iTunes, TuneIn, or iHeartRadio, and now on The Rock, New Hampshire's Christian radio station, TheRockNHCR.com. GrokTALK is a mobile-ready broadcast, so you can listen anywhere, anytime on your PC, laptop, tablet, or smartphone.
Grok Talk.
This is the Coalition of New Hampshire Taxpayers. We're located at 8 North Main in Concord, New Hampshire. This is the repository for all things conservative and municipal. So if you have a problem in your town, your school, your budget committee, the right to know law, and now at the top of our list is voter fraud. You have a tip for us, some information for us, you want to join or help us out, cnht.org.
GrokTALK.